Hi and welcome to the Seder Made Simple. This is the first time in who knows how many years that we will not be having a communal Seder here in the Chabad house. And I'm very well aware that due to the corona, everybody's been quarantined and many people are having their Seder at home for the very, very first time. And there's a lot of anxiety about it. How do I make a Seder at home? Do I have all the stuff? Am I going to do it all right? So what I'd like to show you today is how to make a really simple but meaningful Seder. And even if you're by yourself, just follow the instructions and it'll be easy to make. Just one thing though, you're not alone. Millions of Jews all over the world are making Seder in their own homes by themselves. We're not alone. We're a nation celebrating together. Elijah the prophet's coming to each one of our homes. So if you're quarantined and you're by yourself at home, don't worry. You're together with us. You're together with us all together. Okay, in the days before Pesach, don't get worried about shopping and you haven't got this and you haven't got the other. I just want to invite you to make a Chabad Pesach. What do I mean by that? I'll let you into a little secret. Every single year in Chabad, our custom is we don't buy any manufactured goods whatsoever. So we don't have any macaroons, we don't have any potato starch and chocolates and chocolate-covered matzahs. None of that. We have a very simple Pesach. The only thing that we eat is matzah, poultry, eggs, fish, fruit and veg, and that's it. And honestly, it's simple, but it's so healthy. And I just want to invite you to join us to do that as well. If you can't get out to those shops and you can't get your Pesach cheese and butter and who knows what, forget it. It's fine. Of course, unless you need it for medical reasons, but otherwise, have a simple Seder and simple Pesach. What should you do with all your bread and chametz in the house? The halacha is that you're not allowed to have any of your own chametz in your house over Pesach, but if you sold it to a non-Jewish person, as long as it's behind a barrier in a cupboard or in a sealed room, it's fine. So the easiest thing is just stick all your cereals and bread and pasta and whatever you have, whiskey, in a cabinet, seal it up, go online and sell your chametz online. Sold. Just before Pesach, all you need to do in the morning of Erev Pesach or the Eve of Pesach, make a declaration and say that any other chametz which is not sold, but any other chametz which may be in your possession should be considered null and void, and hefker, it should be ownerless and like the dust of the earth. And you're ready to go. What's your shopping list for before Pesach? Well, you do need to get yourself some matzahs, some wine. You need an egg, a potato, or an onion. Try and get some lettuce and salt. And now we're going to set up our Seder plate. Of course, before the Chag, the festival comes in, we light the candles, both men and women. If it's a married couple, usually the woman of the house lights, but a man living by himself also needs to light the candles. 2 blessings, Asher Kiddushanu b'mitzvotav etzivanu lahadlik ner shel Yom Tov, and the bracha shehechiyanu. You'll find it in the Siddur. Okay, let's get ready for our simple Seder. So, here's our shmura matzah, and your local Chabad chapter should be able to deliver you some shmura matzah if you haven't got it yet. Don't worry if you haven't got a Seder plate and all that. I'm just going to use a simple plate and let's keep it simple. Okay, so I've got my plate over here. I'm going to use a few napkins Let's take out my matzahs. Okay, I've got my 3 Seder matzahs over here. Okay, so there's my first shmura matzah, which I'm going to put down on my plate. And then I'm going to cover it up with a napkin. Let's take my second matzah over there. And again, I'm going to cover that up with a second napkin. And here we go. My third matzah over there. And cover it up over there. Now, don't worry if you haven't got a Seder plate. Actually, this is a cheap Seder plate made in China, of all places. However, you can either use a regular plate or something like this. Some people have the Seder plate separate, and some people actually put it on top of the matzahs, or actually just put the various things and items on top of the matzahs itself. So I'm going to use this. What are the things that we need to put on the Seder plate? Well, on the top right, you need a zoroa, that's a shank bone. In Chabad, we actually use a chicken neck, or you could use like a polka from a chicken, something which is roast it on the fire and put it on the top right over there. On the top left, you put a boiled egg. The bottom right, charoset. Here's a simple recipe for charoset. Apples, pears, and ground almonds. Delish. Easy to make. Most of it's available in the stores. On the bottom left, for karpas, take an onion, a raw onion, or if you can't bear a raw onion, then boil up a potato. And in the middle, for the maror and the horseradish and the bitter herbs, just try and get yourself some romaine lettuce, if possible some horseradish, and if you can't, any lettuce will do. Okay, so let's put that on top over there, and we're ready to start our Seder. Actually, a few other items. Pillows. The reason we need pillows is because on Seder night we recline, and you also need a place where to wash your hands, as we will do soon in the middle of the Seder. So, light the candles, take some wine or grape juice, or mixture of the both, and fill up the first cup. The cup should contain about 3.5 fluid ounces, 86 milliliters of liquid. I'm going to stand up now and show you how to make Kiddush. Now, here's a Haggadah. If you open up in the Haggadah to the beginning of the Seder, you'll find that that is Kiddush. Again, fill up, pick up the cup of wine, and make the Kiddush starting with the blessing Borei Peri Hagafen. And when you finish the Kiddush, you make the blessing Shehecheyanu, and then you sit and lean to the left and drink the first cup of wine. That's called Kadesh. After you've done Kiddush, you can go to the sink to do this. I'm just doing it here for illustrative purposes. You take a cup, fill it with water, and wash 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Dry your hands, but don't say a blessing. That's called Urchatz. Kadesh Urchatz. The next step is carapace. Now, here on the Seder plate, you've got an onion. Take a knife, take a little piece of the onion, and dip it in some salt water that you've prepared before the festival. Dip it in and make the bracha, Baruch Atah Hashem, Elokeinu melech haolam, borei peri ha'adama, and eat the carapace. The next stage is called Yachatz. What we do is we take the middle matzah, so here's the top one, and here's the middle one over there, and we break it in half. Okay. So this is the larger half, that's the smaller half. And the smaller half I'm going to put back inside my little Seder plate. And I've got a little plastic bag over here where I'm going to take the larger part, which I'm going to put away for the afikoman at the end of the Seder. Now, of course, the reason why we have 3 matzot on the Seder table is because, like on every Friday night and festival, we have 2 chalot to remind us of the double portion of manna that came down in the wilderness. So too, on Pesach, we also need 2 chalot to make hamotzi on. In this case, 2 matzot. But on the other hand, the Torah tells us that matzah is called lechem oni. It's the bread of a poor man and the bread of affliction. And that should be a broken piece. And consequently, the Haggadah is said over the broken piece of matzah. So now we're left with 2.5 pieces of matzah on our Seder plate. Okay, the next is Magid, which is to fulfill the mitzvah of telling over the story of the Exodus of Egypt. The Torah says, V'higadata levincha, tell over to your child. And since the Torah uses the word V'higadata, that's why the book which we use is called the Haggadah, because it's telling over a story. Now, I'm well aware that this year many people are going to be by themselves. So who are you telling the story over to? The answer is you need to tell it over to yourself. And the Almighty is our Father in heaven who is listening. And it must be done in a way of question and answer. So even if there's nobody else there, you ask the questions and you give the answers. So we start off by saying actually that this is the bread of affliction that our fathers ate in the land of Egypt. And then we sing together the Manish Tana. It's a beautiful thing. Even if you haven't said the Manish Tana in a long time, because usually you're in a communal Seder and the kids are saying it, or you're with family, just go back to your youth for a few minutes. See if you can remember the tune. You know what? Let's just sing it all together. Manish Tana halayla hazeh mikol haleilot mikol haleilot shebechol haleilot einanu matzbilin afilu pa'am echat afilu pa'am echat halayla hazeh shetef amim halayla hazeh hazeh shetei fe'amim shebechol halilot anu ochlin chametz u'matzah chametz u'matzah halayla hazeh kulo matzah halayla hazeh kulo matzah shebechol halilot anu ochlin she'ar yerakot halayla hazeh maror halayla hazeh maror shebechol halilot anu ochlin ben yoshvinu vein mesubin halayla hazeh kulanu mesubin halayla hazeh kulanu mesubin. Okay, so fill your second cup of wine and you say the Manishtana. That's great. And then say the Haggadah. If you can read it as in Hebrew, great. And if not, say it in a language which you understand. If there are other people present, tell over the story. And if not, say it over to yourself and Hashem is listening to you. And just be transported back into the Exodus. And imagine you yourself were there. Just imagine you going out with the entire Jewish people. Just imagine today you're still with the entire Jewish people in your own home, quarantined by Corona, but all together in heart. And you read through the story, how the sages recounted the story. You go through all the various different plagues, the 10 plagues. Don't think it's a good idea to stick your pinky in this year. Might be a better idea, follow the Minhag Chabad, which is just to pour out a little bit of the wine by each one of the 10 plagues. And of course, the most important thing is when we get to the part of Rabbi Gamliel, who says that you actually have to say 3 things in order to fulfill your obligation, and they are Pesach, Matzah, and Maror. Yeah, I just thought of a great thing as well when we sing Dayenu, Dayenu, Dayenu. I think we should say Dayenu to Corona. And hopefully this will be the last time that we'll have to do this. But please God, as we say at the end, that just like God took us out of Egypt, so too should he redeem us and take us out of the present exile. And please God, even before this Pesach, we should be in Jerusalem together with Mashiach and celebrate all together in the holy city. And so we go through the Magid, and when we finished, we say the bracha the second time, Borei, Peri Hagafen, and drink the second cup of wine, leaning to the left. Okay. Now it's time for rachza, which means to wash our hands a second time, but this time we're going to make a blessing. So fill up a cup, again, 1, 2, 3 until the wrist, and 1, 2, 3. This time, make the blessing, Baruch atah Hashem Elokeinu melech haolam, asher kedeshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu al netilat yadayim. And dry the hands. Okay, now we're going to take the 2.5 matzot which are over here. So we're going to hold them all in our hands, and we're going to say the bracha hamotzi, which is the bracha we make usually over the 2 chalot, and here we're holding the 2.5 matzot left. Baruch atah Hashem, Elokeinu melech haolam, hamotzi lechem min haaretz. Then what we do is we take the top matzah and the middle matzah, yes? And we hold these together, and then we make the special blessing over the matzah. Baruch atah Hashem Elokeinu melech haolam, asher kedeshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu al achilat matzah. Then take half of the top matzah and the middle matzah like this, lean to the left and eat the matzah. Now, how much matzah do you actually have to eat? Well, you actually have to eat 27 grams or 1 ounce of matzah. It's about that much matzah. And you should eat it in less than 4 minutes. The Torah says, eat matzah. Don't nibble it, just sit and eat it. And you know something, in those 4 minutes, I'd like you to think of the following meditation. This matzah is called the bread of faith. And it's also called the bread of healing. Please God, this year, this bread should give us faith and it should give us healing. And if we have those 2 items together, each one of us on the Seder night, what 2 greater ingredients do we actually need? More than at this particular moment. We need faith, and tonight, the night of Seder, is the night that God protects us and guards us and takes us out and redeems us, and we need healing. Okay. Then, the next is the maror. Let's take some lettuce. If you have horseradish, take them both together. And let's make the blessing on the bitter herbs. Baruch atah Hashem Elokeinu melech haolam, asher kedeshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu al achilat maror. We dip it into the charoset and eat the bitter herbs. We then make the famous korech, the sandwich, which of course Hillel made with the 3rd matzah. We break it in half and take some lettuce and some horseradish, put them together, make a sandwich, because this is what Hillel did in the Second Temple. He would take the Pesach, the Paschal lamb, the matzah and the maror, and he would put them all together in a form of a sandwich. And we actually say this is what Hillel did, and then we eat it leaning to our left. Then we can actually start our Seder meal. What we do is we take the egg, shell it, dip it in salt water, and that's your hors d'oeuvre. Now for a main course, keep it simple. You may want to have a piece of fish with some chopped up cucumbers. You may want to have a piece of chicken with some potatoes. Just keep it simple. Some nice mashed avocado. Whatever you're eating for the meal. Don't fill yourself up, because we've still got some things to go. At the end of the meal, we take out the afikoman, and this is our dessert. We take out the afikoman and we break it into 5 and leaning to the left. This is the last thing that we eat at the meal. Okay, we're ready for grace after meals. Take fill up the third cup of wine, and then we say grace after meals. If you know how to do the benching, that's great. If not, just read it in English and say thank you to Hashem for a lovely meal. And at the end of that meal, at the end of the grace, then you make the blessing again, Borei Peri Hagafen, and lean to the left and drink the third cup of wine. Exciting part of the Seder now. We take the candles, we walk to the door, and we open the door for Elijah the prophet. We say what it says in the Haggadah, but I think tonight everybody's got a simple request for Eliyahu. Eliyahu, you're the harbinger of redemption. It's time already. Look at this. There's never been a time like this in history. Every single Jewish person is having a Seder, many by themselves at home, but all together. We are keeping your Pesach. Eliyahu, you bring us and announce the redemption. May it be speedily in our days. Amen. Pour the fourth cup of wine. Actually, I apologize, that fourth cup of wine should be poured actually before we open the door for Elijah. Correction. It's okay, even the rabbi makes mistakes. And once we've opened the door for Elijah, which is an intensely spiritual moment, then we come back and we say Hallel. Hallel means praise and thank Hashem. And beautiful, beautiful verses, which King David says over here. Say as much as you can of it. Hodul Hashem ki tov. Thank God, ki li'olam chasto. Have in mind those people who perhaps can't have a Seder because they're just simply hospitalized. Pray for them. Pray for those who are taking care of them. And thank God for whatever we do have. Jews have always looked at the cup which is half full. Let's try and be positive. Let's try and be upbeat. Let's try and be full of faith. And at the end, we again say the bracha, Borei Peri Hagafen, lean to the left and drink the fourth cup of wine. And now we're ready to finish the Seder. Lots of people sing all sorts of songs and so on and so forth at the end of the Seder, but we finished the Seder with just a 3-word exclamation. L'shana haba b'Yerushalayim. Please God, next year in Jerusalem. Please God, next year we'll all be together in Jerusalem with the coming of Mashiach. I hope that has helped you. I hope you have a wonderful, wonderful Seder, and I hope that you are not feeling alone, that you're together with everybody. And please God, if you need any of the items over here to make a simple Seder, make sure to connect with others, and everything will be done to see to it that at least you have your basics. You're not alone. It's not basic. This is going to be the Pesach of your lifetime. Chag Kasher V'Sameach.